Today on the show, we are joined by Professor Brannon Beliso, and I talk about an important mindset shift for all entrepreneurs.
You're listening to the Level Up Lounge podcast.
Level up. Level up.
Level up. Level up.
Level up.
Level up. You're listening to the Level Up Lounge podcast.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us in the Level Up Lounge. I'm really excited for this week's episode as we have the Professor Brannon Beliso in the house. I had a chance to sit down with him at the Maya Super Show, and we had an amazing talk about the direction that the martial arts industry is going in, the direction that we believe it should sort of turn into. And then Brannon shares some great insight on how he's doing things differently at his martial arts schools. And if you know Brannon Beliso, you know that he has some amazing locations. They're doing really, really well, and they just continue to grow and grow and grow without any signs of stopping. So I'm excited for you guys to hear from him. And then afterwards, after the interview, I want to go ahead and share with you guys our Punch in the Face segment.
Punch in the face.
Where I'm going to share something that I thought was really insightful from one of the books that I'm reading. And it just sort of made a light bulb go off in my head. And I'm hoping it does the same thing for all of you entrepreneurs that are listening as well. So we'll get to that right after the interview. But right now, let's jump into it with Professor Brannon Beliso. All right, so we want to welcome to the Level Up Lounge. You guys might know him as the Professor Brannon Beliso. He's an author, writer, speaker, consultant, teacher, does so much good for the industry. Thank you for joining us today, Professor.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to be here, sir.
And we really appreciate you taking out time to do this. I know we're at the Martial Arts Super Show right now. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Brannon's been talking to all sorts of people and been at the Rainmaker booth, and I know he's got a busy schedule, so we appreciate you taking the time to do this. For our listeners that may not have heard of you yet, can you just give us a little bit about your background?
Well, if we want to go all the way back to the beginning, I started martial arts in 1967.
Wow. Awesome.
So I've done this my whole life. So I was able to see the evolution of martial arts pre-Bruce Lee, and all that, to see that evolution through Ninja Turtle, Power Rangers, Karate Kid, the Miyagi version, the last version. So I've seen all the different trends, and I've just come to a point in my life where, for me, my purpose in the industry is to share with people to become critical thinkers, to become thought leaders, and not simply live from the herd mentality or follow along like sheep, because it's their life, it's their space, it's their race. But the most fundamental challenge I see right away is we're all white belts. We stand in the lineup and we say, yes, sir, how many push-ups, how many kicks? So we live from that herd mentality almost from day one. As much as we promote martial arts being an individual art, it's not. So then all of a sudden, here we are as an entrepreneur trying to run a school or trying to, be this entrepreneur, and we've been disciplined, but we don't possess the self-discipline or the skill set to go out there and be a successful business person, because we've always been a good soldier in a lineup.
Sure.
So I'm committed to helping people make that transition.
So the mindset that I'm sort of getting from that is that you're working on helping people to sort of build the tools that they need in themselves to be able to be more efficient with their business?
Absolutely.
Would that be correct? Okay.
Absolutely. Just like my book that just came out, Live, Learn, and Grow, it's a self-discovery book. And hopefully, if I could become successful, anybody can, because the stories are very transparent. So it's the same thing here. It's really developing that success mindset first, understanding who you are and what your why is. I know we hear that a lot. What's your why? What's your why? That great Simon Sinek piece where he says, don't market from what? What are we, a martial arts school? Don't market from the how. We do it with quality martial arts instruction. Market from the why. Why do I want to come to you versus Joe Karate down the street? And if you sing the same song as everybody else, we teach focus and discipline, well, then I, as a consumer, make my buying decision based upon who's cheaper and who's closer.
Sure.
Because there's nothing that sets you apart from anybody else.
So would you say an entrepreneur's story, would that go into part of their why? Is that something that you would help them focus on, or is it more internal?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just had lunch with a school owner, and he doesn't even have a budget. I said, what? I want you to write a budget. How much you spend, how much you make, how much you save every month for your retirement or to grow your business or to invest. And he looked at me like it was Greek. I said, have you ever done a business plan? Well, no. Why do I need that? So, because most of us either inherit a school from our instructor, decide, I love martial arts, I'm going to throw down some mats and simply teach.
Sure.
There's a great book in, I believe it was E-Myth, E-Myth is the book by Michael Gerber. I love that book. He talked about, I love to bake, so I opened up a bake shop. Well, I'm no longer just baking. I'm hiring, I'm firing, I'm doing marketing, I'm doing accounting, bookkeeping. I'm probably the janitor too. So to understand that before you ever open your doors is really vital. And I think it's one of the reasons why the failure rate is so high in our industry, even worse, the mediocrity rate. The 90% of our industry with 100 students day in and day out, and I think there's something fundamentally very wrong.
I agree with that. And I know that you are very service focused, which I think is great, because I think there's a lot of people that are school owners in our industry, but also even selling products or services in the industry that forget the service and the adding value part of it for their clients. And I know that you've talked about service a lot. Can you explain sort of your mindset on being a service-based business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think service is the new profit. And that's the saying I've coined. Service is the new profit. Profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, or profit, P-H-O, as in a profit. The minute we recognize to put people before profits, we offer ourselves the opportunity to build a very unique culture. Because we are a culture-based business.
Sure.
And that's what I think makes what we do very special. But I think there's something fundamentally wrong when we say, we teach honor, we teach commitment. And then we go through some sales, song and dance to get you to sign a 36-month contract. And if for some reason you can't pay it, I'm going to take you to collections. It just blurs. The lines are really, really blurred. So the business model I created that didn't exist in our industry successfully, no contracts, no upgrades, no bell testing fees, no enrollment fees. We don't even have a 30-day cancel. We have
month to month.
Yeah, we have no program director. We have no offices. We don't close anybody. If we do our job, if we serve you well, from hello within 5 seconds at the front door to waiting at the edge of the mat, tying your belt, the brand absolutes. You can't talk about martial arts. You must talk about them as a person in their life, to pre-framing the class properly through amazing curriculum, because curriculum to me is the food in the restaurant. I don't care how great a restaurant is. You want to put a bad restaurant out of business? Give them great marketing. So great curriculum, great staff delivering it, great experience, creating that Disney experience. I'm very passionate about that Disney experience. I wonder why when you go to Disneyland, you see some 60-year-old couple with mouse ears and no kids in sight at Disneyland. They're still trying to capture that memory, that experience again and again and again and again. And if you can do that, why do you need a contract?
What I love about you is it's so outside of the box thinking compared to the martial arts industry.
It is.
And I know there's other industries that have that very service-based mentality, like Disney World.
Yep.
But I think in our industry, it's so rooted in tradition that a lot of school owners don't want to veer away from what they were taught, or veer away from whatever their mentor is teaching them. And I think the future of the martial arts industry is service-based, and you're the one that's preaching that and telling that, and I love that. Now, for the school owners listening, I know everything that you just said might have just took their whole head for a whirl, because it's maybe the opposite of what they're doing. They're talking about their trophies and how many dans they are, and grandmaster this, master that. And one of the things that caught me off is you said you have no program director at your school.
No.
So, like, what are some of the positions at your school, or is it?
We run with a flatline management.
Okay.
See, I don't want a designated hitter. I want a utility player. Someone I can throw at second. Somebody that can go to first. Someone that can, pitch run. Pinch, is it pinch run? When you run for somebody?
Oh, I should know this.
What is that? I don't know.
Yeah, pinch runner.
A pinch runner?
Yeah.
Okay. I want a utility player. That's what I want. You know why? Because I think there's more empathy between the team members. If I know how to do the front desk, and I can teach, and I can do day camp, and I can teach a kickboxing class, I have more empathy for everybody in those positions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so we run the flatline management. I'm not your boss. We're a team.
So do you have people that spend more time in one area?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like my sister, all she does is front desk. She doesn't want to do martial arts. It's not her thing. I'm fine with that. If you read the book, Good to Great by Jim Collins, he talks about that. It's about getting the right people on the bus. But more than that, it's about getting the right people in the right seat. I've got a couple retired friends that are black belts. They come in and teach a couple hours a week. That's all they'll ever do. They don't want to own a school. That'll never happen. But I recognize that, and I utilize their talents to the fullest in that capacity. See, people often, I think they get me wrong It's not that I'm against contracts. See, people think I'm against contracts because I'm pro-service.
Sure.
What I'm against is anything that is associated with the word McDojo, anything associated with the word Black Belt Factory, anything where I go to a school's review site and I look at one of their Facebook or Google reviews and it says, don't go there. Every time you turn around, they got you reaching into your pocket. They're all about the money.
Sure.
Anything that associates martial arts with that, I'm an advocate to get rid of.
Good.
I am.
That's awesome.
And I'm passionate about that. But see, the thing is, a lot of people are running schools like me, but they're not very successful. And I share our numbers. We're at 1,000 students between 2 locations.
Wow.
The second school is only 2 years old. It's at 390. We did 206,000 last month.
Wow.
And we're on a path
amazing.
to do 1.9 million. And it is volatile. People say, well, that's volatile because during the summer, blah, 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 blah. Summer is one of our best times. Because I really believe if the only way you can keep somebody there is with a contract, you need to go back to the drawing board and look at your curriculum and look at your service and look at the way you're training your team. If that's the only reason they're staying is because of a contract.
They're staying for the wrong reason.
Yeah, and it's complacency. Because I know if you're signed to a contract, there's nowhere it says I have to teach at a certain level. I have to perform for you at a certain level. It doesn't, right? None of them do. So you're obligated to pay me for that. So what we love is every day we step on the mat, we don't look at it as, oh, it's volatile, they can quit today because there's no 30-day cancel. We go out there and we own it. And we step up to that. It's like an actor. You're only as good as your last movie. I'm cool with that. We have a saying, we cannot have a bad day. You cannot teach a bad class. So we live by that.
I think the mindset of the buyer changes too then. When they know that they can stop at any time, especially, I think if someone's on contract and they see you giving value, that's great. But they know that, hey, they sort of have to do this because I'm signed on until this month. But when they know that they can leave at any time, but your staff is still going above and beyond with their service and their value and actually building relationships, I think that's a completely different animal because that's not something you necessarily have to do in their eyes then, which...
Yeah, and it feels better.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's in line with the Budo spirit. I think it's in line with what we do as martial artists. You ask anybody how they feel about selling, I would, if they weren't around whoever's in charge of them, they would say, I hate it. I hate having to sit somebody down in my nice martial arts uniform with words like discipline, integrity up on the wall, and then go through this sales script, you know, to remove every obstacle to get you to sign my 2-year contract. I've never believed in that, so the challenge for me was there was no data. There was tons of data saying, if you do contracts, upgrades, black belt clubs, you'll be able to be profitable. So there was no data. So I sat about going, well, how am I going to collect data on this? Well, first of all, as a smart business person, I said, who's my demographic? Kids. No, it's not. It's the mothers. Yep. They're the ones paying the bill. So then I went, great. Mom, what do you think of this flyer? Mom, would you prefer contracts or month to month? Mom, would you want to know all the pricing up front? Mom, and all these moms are there who I go to. I'm not going to listen to some marketing guy sitting in a glass house, you know, in some big city who's going to regurgitate some fitness marketing tips to me about a $1 Black Friday sale. I want to be the Apple of martial arts. I don't want to be the $1 Black Friday guy or the Groupon guy. That's not who that's a values thing.
Sure.
Why is it people will stand in line all night long for some iPhone they can walk in 2 days later and get without having to stand in line all night? It's a culture. They drank the Kool-Aid, they've bought into the culture of Apple. It's the same thing here, creating that culture. And from that culture, you grow a tribe. And from that tribe, you create those raving fans. In the book Tribes by Seth Godin, he talks about that. The more raving fans you have, and we all have at least one, the mom who pays for all 3 kids, and then she volunteers to do the Easter party, everything you want for free. That's a raving fan. Imagine if you had 1,000 of those. You wouldn't need Facebook ads, you wouldn't need anything, right?
That's amazing.
You wouldn't.
Word of mouth will spread so fast.
We still know that. I don't care what anybody says, it's tried and true till this day. We are a service-based business. The best form of getting new clients is referral.
Sure.
But on the flip side of that, own that young part. If you piss them off and they're not happy with you, oh yeah, so if I get a bad Yelp review, we own it. We are fully accountable, fully apologetic, full refund, whatever it takes. That's what a great business does.
That's awesome.
An ego-driven business, what are they going to do? Defend their point.
Oh, sure. Sure.
And it doesn't matter.
And that looks awful looking at the reviews too.
It does.
So I don't know if you want to share this, but would you mind like sort of taking us through the process? Someone comes into your school interested in martial arts, because I know most school owners are doing contracts.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the way that they talk to the person and what they talk about is completely different. So let's say I step into your school, I'm interested in lessons for my son. What happens?
Well, the first thing is you're going to get a hello within 5 seconds.
Awesome.
It's one of our brand absolutes. And any great company or business has brand absolutes. There's no veering from that. Everybody, even if you're teaching on the floor, if I'm in the middle of the class, someone walks in that door, welcome to One Martial Arts, back to teaching. And I got that out of a Japanese restaurant. I set my foot in a Japanese restaurant. Everybody, from the hostess to the sushi chef to the busboy, everybody says hello. And I thought that was amazing because they took one thing and they amplified it.
That's
and
awesome.
that's borrowed from the Ritz-Carlton 10x5 rule. They come within 10 feet, you acknowledge with a head nod or something like that. They come within 5 feet, if they're not on a cell phone or something, you would greet them and say hello. So that's the first thing that happens. Second is the proximity of our front desk. Everything I've studied about interior design says if your front desk is within 5 to 10 feet, there's an instant connection of warmth and I know where to go. We know it in a big place like this. You walk in the front doors and you're like,
You're looking around.
looking around, where do I go? What do I do here? Right? So again, by putting that front desk in the proper positioning, this is just fundamental interior design 101, they feel the movement. See, because remember, we're creating what? An experience.
Sure.
So great, I step foot in the door, welcome to One Martial Arts from everybody. Oh, I feel welcomed. Oh, front desk is right there. So I easily move to that front desk. So already you've established 2 contact points. So the resistance by the time they get to that front desk is minimal.
That's awesome.
And we would never say, hi, how may I help you? We never say, how may I help you? Think about it. You walk into the average retail store and they go, hi, how you doing today? Can I help you? What do you say 99.9% of the time? I'm all right, just looking.
Yeah.
So we want to avoid that. So we will say, welcome to martial arts. My name is Brannon. And then they begin from there. And we really, I think more than a phone script, and you know where I really picked this up from was Zappos. Zappos is an online shoe company, $1 billion online shoe company. Who'd have thunk you could sit there and sell shoes online? You can't try them on, you can't touch them, you can't feel them.
Sure.
Well, free shipping both ways. Well, those numbers don't make sense because you're going to lose. No, because I'm spending money, I might lose money here, but because of the experience, because that was his commitment. Tony Hsieh will say in his book, Delivering Happiness, we're not in the shoe business, we're in the customer service business. So he created that experience. A woman goes, what? Free shipping both ways?
Yep.
I can order 20 pairs of shoes and send 20 pairs back? Free? Dun dun dun. I'll get 20, I'll keep 10, and I'll send the others back. And when the day's done, it's profitable. It's profitable. So we recognize that. So I train my team. The reason I share that story is because his longest service call was 6 hours.
Wow.
And they awarded the employee for something for that because it really was about service. Another time, him and his buddies, he talks about this in the book, you know, they had something to drink, they were in Santa Monica, or somebody goes, listen, watch this. Calls the 24-hour customer service and says, I don't want to buy shoes. Me and my buddies are a little lit. We want pizza. Can you help me? Hold on, please. She came back with 3 different pizzerias that were open in walking distance at 2 in the morning or whatever.
That's amazing.
It's brilliant, right? It's brilliant. So if we stop focusing on ROI and those types of things, so we teach our team to actively listen. We treat the consumer like they're intelligent. That's the other myth I really want to dispel in the martial arts. For us to ludicrously think, because I'm a black belt, you walk through this door, you don't know what you're looking for? That's insane. With the power of the internet and the research we can all do, they've probably gone to your Facebook, looked at your Google reviews, looked at your Facebook reviews, Yelp reviews. You know, every data is proving. They go to the homepage, they go to the about, and then they go right to the instructors. So it's changing dramatically. The train's changing. We need to treat consumers like they're intelligent people, and we simply need to give them the information to make an intelligent choice.
Here's what I love about everything you've said so far is not once did I hear you mention anyone else in the martial arts industry and you modeling it off that. And I think the big reason for that is because there's so many more successful people doing it right outside of our industry, and that I think even the people that are doing really successful in our industry are still on that traditional model of your martial arts school contracts and upgrades and all of that stuff.
Absolutely, because you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And change is painful, you know, and change is hard. But again, these examples I'm giving you are based upon values-based companies that focus on being better businesses, not bigger businesses, that always put the customer first. So be mindful of that. I think the big mistake we make is we're taking a lot of our marketing leads from the fitness industry. I don't want to be $40 a month big box gym. I don't want to be that. So why would I market my school that way? And fitness people don't understand our culture. They don't understand what it is. But on the flip side, for my ego to painstakingly go, we teach commitment. You must sign a 2-year contract. I've got a 5 and an 8-year-old. You will never sign my 5-year-old to a year contract. The most you'll ever get out of me is 3 months, if that. So I think that's ludicrous within itself, and that thinking needs to change as well.
Now, just to clarify, when you're saying no contracts, you're talking about like term contracts, right?
Yeah.
There's still some sort of paperwork they sign.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, electronic doc. We take your banking information or credit card. We bill you every month automatically.
You can cancel at any time.
Automatically, can cancel at any time.
Okay.
If you're due tomorrow and you came in today to say, I cancel, we thank you for allowing us to serve you. We send you a postcard that says, thank you for allowing us to serve you. If there's anything we could have done better, please let us know. Know that the door is wide open here if you ever decide to continue your martial arts journey.
That's awesome. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and then we have an exit flow. So through our software, Rainmaker, they'll get a thank you email. They'll get another one and another one over a couple-week period.
That's awesome.
Because you want to make the entrance, the exit, just as great as their entrance. Think how much love we give a brand new prospect. Well,
and then it disappears for a lot of people.
Right. Give them the same love on the end, sir. The same love. That's why one of the sayings we have hanging in our instructor's room is treat every student today like it's their first day. So, going back to that experience, hello at the front door, front desk in proximity, train to actively listen. And we actively listen. And some of it we still use like, is this for yourself or your child?
Sure.
What are you hoping to gain? What kind of benefits? But it's all centered around our why and our purpose. You call my schools right now. They will answer the phone. Live your best life at One Martial Arts. We bow out of class. What are we going to go out there and do, class? Live your best life, sir. If I see a dad, I'll shake his hand. Sir, you living your best life? Oh, no, I need to get back in and start working out. Same thing here. If I was standing in front of a mom and I said, ma'am, what are your goals for your child? Well, I really want him to learn focus. Well, here at One Martial Arts, we believe if a child has really great focus and they can pay attention, then we offer them the opportunity to live their best life. Mom, what do you want your child to learn? Confidence. Well, ma'am, we believe at One Martial Arts, if a child believes in themselves, they're going to achieve all their goals and offers them the potential to live their best life. We understand our why. We're very clear on our why. So once you understand your why, you cultivate your brand and your culture. You live, teach, and preach that. So we're very clear about that.
That's awesome. And I love how you have your staff trained on knowing your why, because I think that's missing from a lot of martial arts schools.
It does. They don't even know their why.
Exactly.
And they're still going, we are a family martial arts center. We teach focus and discipline. Great. I'm a consumer. You sing the same song. You sing the same song. Even worse, when I see a landing page that's identical to everyone else's landing page, only a few words change, I as a consumer cannot differentiate you from anybody else. So one thing I encourage everybody to do right now is discover that why. If I were to ask you, why do I want to come to your school versus Joe Karate down the street? It better not be because we're a family martial arts school and we teach focus and discipline. We know writing great content. Content is king. Sure. I would never, design something that says we teach focus and confidence. What I will say is, would you like your child to be a better listener and achieve their goals? Hey, yes, I would. Tell me more. Right? You identify their pain point, right? Or their concern or their need instead of marketing from the how do we do it. It's the type of education we as an industry need. Otherwise, we'll continue to simply grab what's old and repackaged and regurgitated, or even worse, take our leads and cues from people that, aren't necessarily in line with our values.
That makes sense. So
there's tons of answers out there, sir. The bottom line is I don't look for answers. I find the right questions, because if I'm asking the right questions, then I'm going to get the right answers. So when we're working with the consumer, that's part of it. We want to make sure we're promoting the why, because they don't know the difference between a front kick, kung fu, BJJ, taekwondo, but they do know, why do I want to come there? They're going to help my child live their best life. That works for me all day, every day, right?
That's great.
Nike, just do it. It's not about a tennis shoe. It's about through the Nike culture, through the Nike experience, you just do it. And we know the biggest part of success is what? Application, action. Knowledge is useless until you apply it. So that's the whole Nike premise. Just do it. 3 simple words. They've built a whole culture, a brand upon for what, 4 decades now?
And you can see a Nike commercial before they even show a swoosh, and you know it's Nike.
Yep.
Just because they have their branding
Yep.
on, they have their Y everywhere.
Yeah, but be mindful that Apple is just an Apple now. None of us are in that position, so we still got to be able to write compelling content and to be able to cultivate that.
Awesome. Now, I know we talked about sort of when students get into your academy, what do you do to add value after they're signed up? So let's say they enroll, what do you do to add value to them as they continue their journey through
absolutely.
the program?
Again, I think it's a cultural thing. It really is. I think we live by certain mantras. If I'm not getting better, I'm getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
We constantly improve upon what we do to better serve you, and we can always do and be better. Those 3 things alone are our mission statements, part of our brand absolutes. If we're constantly improving upon our curriculum, we're constantly improving our service, we're constantly improving our level of instruction, guess what? Their experience is only going to continue to get better, is it not?
Definitely.
It will. Yeah. But the physical things that we do, again, no belt testing fees. Somebody said, you're insane. You do a 5-hour black belt test for free, and you pay for an embroidered belt, and you give them a nice certificate on a wooden plaque? Yes, we do. Guess how high our black belt retention is? Go back and look at your numbers. I bet a lot of people are quitting at black belt in a lot of schools because of that. That lasts $500 for a black belt test. So things like that. We do a monthly parents' night out for free to the community and our existing students. Huge retention tool. Parent can drop that kid off for 4 hours, pizza, dodgeball, life skills, all those things. Again, free. Stop stepping over $1 to pick up a penny. To me, that is my marketing. Those parents' night outs. Huge for us. So awesome. Cultural events like that.
I love Parents Nights Out too, obviously, with our company.
That's right. And parents say to me, last week we had an Independence Family Fun Day. Right? They go, well, what is that? Well, it's when the families came in together, did a bunch of games, broke boards, life skills, just fun. The big thing, I think, when we look at those events, we strictly look at them as lead generating instead of culture building or creating brand awareness. I'm a big advocate of brand awareness. Not everything's about collecting a lead.
Sure.
You really want to destroy an experience, do a great event like a Parents' Night Out, then stand with a clipboard at the front door trying to get their buddies that are with them.
Just had a conversation about this today with the school owner.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Right on. Yeah. Gary Vee said it. Stop focusing on your ROI. Focus on the relationship. I don't want 5,000 leads. I want one good lead.
Sure.
Because like the ripple effect, I drop that pebble in the water, it ripples outward. If I got one great lead, one raving fan, they're going to tell somebody else. I got 1,000 looky-loos, and I learned that with Groupon. We had all these people through Groupon, and they didn't like us. They didn't know us. They were Grouponers.
We had the same experience at
They
our
were
school.
Grouponers. And they would tell me straight up, you don't need to give me your song and dance, dude. We're Grouponers. And when I'm done with these 10 classes, I'm on to the next deal. That's the way I roll. Okay, great. We won't do that anymore. And think about it, going back to Apple as a model, when do you ever see an iPhone on sale? Never. You might have a third party like Best Buy give a gift card if you buy a MacBook Pro or something, or if they're getting, them bringing out a new MacBook Pro Advance or whatever, they might be selling the old ones, to blow them out, but they're never on sale.
That's so true.
That's amazing. To me, that's amazing. And why shouldn't we all aspire to be the Apple of the martial arts? Why not? I believe if you do that as a business, any kind of business, if you aim for that there's no way you're going to fail. So the Parents' Night Out is big, the events like that. A couple of times a year, we'll do 10% discounts. I'm not big on cash outs, but to grandfather in our existing students and show them that we appreciate them.
Like a 10% pay in full discount?
Pay in full. But see, what the big thing is, put it in a separate bank account and trickle it into your monthly.
Do not spend it.
Do not spend it.
There was a whole era of cash out everybody, and
then you can't pay rent next month because you went and bought a brand new car and bought a house. What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Right. So I'm not big on cash outs, but we will do them because they add value for our existing members. See, it wasn't based upon let's make more money because we're actually doing it at a discounted rate. We're doing it because it shows more value. Oh, you appreciate me that much? You're going to give me this discount because I'm a longtime student? Yes, ma'am, we are. So things like that I think are super powerful. We look for misses. I think the big thing is look for misses. Here's a classic miss in our business. You're walking the kid off the floor, right? You finish his class. Oh, Mom, Johnny did a great job today. Mom says to you, well, what should Johnny practice for his next class? And then you launch into the soliloquy of, well, it's the tiger kneeling to the moon. It's the fifth self-defense. And the mom's looking at it like the teacher in Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. Well, we use restaurant-style headsets, which is something very innovative in our industry. Seamless communication with everybody. Front desk, aftercare, everywhere. So all I got to do is hit. Plus, I can hear everything. And the team has that trust, because you might have that young team member, a little over their head, hit that headphone. I might be watching a class from sitting at the front desk going, hey, pick up Johnny and Jimmy. They're sparring way above 30%. Pick them up. But, so in this case, why it's super powerful, before we even hit the edge of the mat, front desk, please send Johnny beginning stripe 1. We get to mom, blah, blah, blah. What should Johnny practice? Well, ma'am, we just sent you the curriculum video for him to practice. It's mobile responsive.
That's
Looks
awesome.
great on your cell phone, great on an iPad, great on. We even have an app now. So the app takes care of a lot of it. Now we tell them.
I think I saw you talking about that on Facebook. That's great.
Yep. So now that's the example. Same thing with the belt testing fees. In the beginning, because I didn't know better, we had belt testing fees. But the horrible experience, again, we create the Disney experience. Walking up to the parent in the waiting area.
Johnny didn't pay.
Johnny, you're done testing. Can you come to the front desk? Because eliminate it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. So all it was about service, not profit. Right? Service is new profit, people before profit. We just methodically went through every avenue of our business and eliminated those huge misses.
So let's say I'm a school that has testing fees right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have contracts. I charge for all my parents' nights out events and stuff like that. How do I transition then to being service-based without getting rid of all those and then losing the income? How would you coach someone to do that?
I think the first thing is you need to decide for you what your value system is.
Sure.
I have great people in the industry who I love and respect dearly that use contracts, upgrades, belt fees. They make no qualms. They believe in it 150%. Rock and roll, more power to you. But I would believe if I open up a school next to you and my service, my curriculum, everything's better than yours, and I don't have contracts and all of those trappings, I'm going to outperform you.
Sure.
At some point. So just be mindful of that. So value-wise, that fits you. Then let's say hypothetically, belt testing fees are $30 every quarter for a year. That's $120. Increase your tuition by $10 and get rid of them.
There you go.
Pretty simple, right? Because I know people want to know they're on budgets.
Sure.
They want to know every month, this is what I'm going to pay you. Oh, and you're giving me a belt for free? But I take this from Master Clock, and I think it's very poignant because we give our price list when a student's inquiring, but it'll say no belt testing fees. What he said, you need to tell them what that's worth, though.
Sure.
And I never thought of that. So now I'm going to go back. He told me this in Mexico when we spoke. We were both speaking at a conference together, but someone else, an instructor, said it here at this event, so I'm going to go back and do it now. So it will say no belt testing fees. Value $35 to $500. Because some black belts are $500, right?
Sure.
It will say no contracts. Anywhere from $199 a month all the way up to $2,000-$3,000 for a 24-month.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So I'm going to physically put that there. So again, that perceived added value, all those things came out of looking for misses, and we're constantly looking for them. How many school owners, martial arts schools right now, you guys have baby changing tables in your bathrooms?
None. And you know what? As I have a toddler right now, but the biggest thing was when I had my son, I couldn't find any restaurants or anything that had changing tables in the guy's bathroom. It drove me crazy.
Bad experience, right?
Yep.
It's a bad experience. So either they're changing the kid on the floor of the bathroom or on your benches in the waiting area, or they have to leave. And if they leave, they're not seeing the experience and the benefits.
To the car and change.
Correct. So that's a huge miss as well.
I love that. That's awesome. Now, I have some, we always end with some quick fire questions for all of our guests. Just sort of more laid back, fun questions. You read a ton, and talking to you makes me think I need to read way more than I am. But what is the one book right now that you would recommend for school owners to
E-Myth
check out?
Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Okay.
Because it took me from being a personality-driven business to a service business, service-driven business, systems-driven business. Let me back up. Rewind. It took me from being a personality-driven business to a systems-driven business. And that was really, really important because I have kids. I recognize if I got sick or hurt, even at the time I was making $1 million a year, in 6 months to a year, my school would be closed. It would be closed. So the wonderful thing I love about E-Myth is the model he uses a lot is McDonald's. And he says you take the lowest common denominator, and the reason this appeals to me is because I know our standard, the most of the people we employ are who? High school, college, millennials. Okay, that's the demographic. So looking at McDonald's from that perspective, they're $1 billion business based upon high schoolers, college kids. So you take the lowest common denominator, because they don't have much work experience, they haven't developed work ethic, and you get them to perform extraordinarily through a well-written system, that's amazing. So that appealed to me too. So after you read E-Myth, methodically going about writing the systems. Well, what systems do I write? First one's to replace yourself. Read E-Myth 10 times over, listen to the audio version, do it. It'll change your life. It changed mine. Now, I mean, knock on wood, if I died tomorrow, my family's set. My school's run without me. So the other thing E-Myth taught me is create a business that you want to sell. What? I'll never sell my school. I know that. But create a business that you would sell. Make sense?
Yes.
Because it's not dependent upon you, which as true entrepreneurship gives you the freedom to do the things you want to do. Again, I have a 5 and an 8-year-old. I can't look at my daughter when she's 8 and say, please be 5 again. Papa has time now.
Yeah.
You don't get that back. So what is that worth to me? It's worth a lot. My people have 401ks. They have vacation with pay, some of them. You know, they're making top dollar. That's worth a lot to me. I need to become a company people want to work for. Makes sense to me.
That's great. That's awesome.
So E-Myth is number one.
E-Myth.
Right now I'm reading Relentless by Tim Grover.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm reading that book. I like it a lot because I have my Success Never Sleeps. You know, I'm that type of person. People wonder, how do you go? It's just, that's just how I'm built. I'm built for that. So I like Relentless is another great one I'm reading now. Good to Great, Jim Collins, I think is very important. The 4 Agreements, which is a little more of a spiritual book, but one of the agreements is don't take anything personally. I think our egos in the martial arts industry, we take things way too personally. We internalize them.
Too many grudges and favorite martial arts movie?
You know, I'm a junkie for you know, probably the latest thing I watched a couple of weeks ago was maybe, what did I watch a couple of weeks ago? It was Raid 2.
Raid.
Have you heard Raid?
Raid, yes.
Raid?
Awesome.
Raid
Yes.
2. So I watched the second one, but still, I'm a Bruce Lee guy. You know, I've got a picture of my instructor with Bruce Lee. So my instructor trained with Bruce Lee in San Francisco. So all time has to be Enter the Dragon.
That's the most answered movie
It is,
when
though.
I ask martial artists.
You know, it is because I think what I loved about it and Bruce Lee's vision, he was like the Jimi Hendrix of martial arts. Where are you going to have an Asian star, an African American star,
Jim Kelly.
right, and a Caucasian star with a supporting cast that was mixed Asian and everything else, and you saw the two companies come together, right? I think it was Run Shaw Brothers came together with Warner Brothers and all that, and they produced that movie. I mean, that's revolutionary for a time. That was what, 71, 72? Because Bruce Lee died in what, 73? I don't remember. That was so long ago.
Yeah.
But we're talking Vietnam War, post all that, so it's pretty radical. It's pretty radical.
That's
A lot of
awesome.
people don't get that.
I did not. That's great.
No, I didn't. I mean, and I've got every digital 50th re-digital version, like his book, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do.
Yes, I have that.
Right?
Yep.
I've got every version of that book, the 50th special edition with Linda, Lee Caldwell's saying it or whatever. It doesn't matter. I've read the book 1,000 times, and I'll buy the next one that comes out.
That's awesome. That's like me with my records. Like if there's an album,
Yeah. Oh, don't get me going about that, sir.
Sgt. Pepper and the Lonely Hearts. Oh my goodness, I need every copy of that.
4 tracks.
Yes.
I did that on 4 tracks. Yeah, I was a musician for 20 years, and I owned a DJ company for 20 years.
That's awesome. I think that's something that sort of made me want to reach out to you as well, because I know you have a history in recording and in music, and I'm a huge music junkie.
Yep.
So I love it. Next question is going to be favorite music to work out to. Favorite type of music.
You know, if it's personal, if it's my mood, I love Prince. I'm a big Prince buff.
For working out?
Yep. But for all our fitness kickboxing classes, we still, the go-tos like power music, Dynamix. Now you're going to make me a great mix, so I'm going to have to go that way, everybody.
We're going to have a Brannon Beliso workout mix. 150 BPM.
And everybody's going to want it.
Yes.
See, but fortunately, when Taibo came around, it resonated with me. I was a DJ, a musician, martial arts. So I got my American College of Sports Medicine. I got my American Council on Exercise and AFA too. I think that's American Fitness Athletic Association. But I got all 3, so I understand cueing, counting, contraindications, formatting. I know it all, when it comes to fitness. And that's what I think lacks with a lot of martial arts schools is please understand those things, because if we're going to compete with Equinox, we're going to compete with these high-end big box gyms, you better be the best fitness instructor and martial arts instructor around. So I'm big on music.
So I think the count is missing a lot from.
They don't count at all. They don't
cue or count. A lot of them look like my dad dancing, which is
Right, and it's something magic. See, we don't do that the whole class, but to be able to, everyone's doing a round on the bag. You go 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're all bouncing on a left jab together, and everybody comes together in this synchronicity.
You can feel it.
Yeah, for a 3-5 minute interval, and you break out and let them do some other drill. It's brilliant. See, I think what got worn out with Taibo is we did it on the beat for the whole 50, 60 minutes. So it wore its welcome. I think today what lacks in most of the kickboxing classes is nobody's cueing, nobody's counting, and they're missing a real gem of what you could bring to the table. But music is crucial. It's crucial. So if I had to go, I'm going to know what's the newest, what's the latest. I'm going to try to create a mix that even, see, you talk about, what kind of music in the warm-up, what's happening during the stretch, what's happening during the first 15 minutes, getting that heart rate up to 65% of the VO2 max, and then, all that should be planned. And if you're really good, when you cue and you move into another drill, the music changes with you.
Yes.
See, that's art. Yeah, most people look at me, I know you get it, right? You get it, right? You're in the middle of one routine and you cue and go to another routine, it breaks down. And there you are, everybody's counting on a jumping jack. Most people don't get that.
See, that's one thing I love is being able to, ever since I've been able to produce music and mix and all that stuff, when we do classes at our school and stuff, I like to time out the mix so warm-ups would be this tempo and all that stuff. So.
And imagine if schools did that, we'd blow away any gym. I have a 24-hour fitness right above me at my new location. We are packed for kickboxing at $139 a month when you can go there for $40. How is that? Because we've really produced a product. And again, it's not everything that matters. It's not the little things that matter. It's everything that matters. Sure. And so many people, they'll throw up a funky stereo with Santana on it or something. We have professional grade sound systems, wireless headsets. I mean, we're in there.
That's awesome.
Nobody shares a bag. Stop that. You kickboxing people, don't make people share bags. What a horrible experience.
How about have you heard about having community sparring gear?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
I have to say, I learned so much from talking to you, and you have my mind sort of churning in a good way. I want to go sit down and just write down a bunch of stuff and systemize things even more. So I love having you on the show. Where can people follow you at?
Well, number one is Facebook. Facebook's my biggest thing. I post Facebook Live almost every day. I have a thing called Success Never Sleeps that's on nightly, but even that I break the mold. All the data says you must broadcast at this time, at this day. You have the biggest... I don't do that. Some guy said, man, it's amazing. You're on at 1 a.m. Yeah, it's because I have followers in Germany. I have followers in the UK, Australia. Sure. So I want them to get me too, conveniently, because service is about people first. So if I need to be up at 1 a.m., why not get on the bike and be pedaling on my life cycle while I serve people? So definitely Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, BrannonBeliso.com. Everything's there. I have a new book out right now called Live, Learn, and Grow. Lessons of a Reluctant Tiger. I have a new children's series out called The Adventures of Bray and Tay, available at Amazon.
Awesome.
I have great e-products, everything you hear me talk about. I have an e-learning products. Go to BrannonBeliso.com for that. And then I have live events. So my next one is coming up in San Francisco, November 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Again, you can find that, any social media, it's there.
And guys, I hope you realize the information that he gave us in just half an hour here. Imagine getting that over a whole weekend and really being able to dive into it and learn about it. If you thought you got some stuff out of this, you need to go to a live event. I'm really interested.
Well, like
in
the Germans say, I got a big German following. They say you make my brain bleed, but it really is. Because it's not. People like to say it's not personal, it's business.
Sure.
I beg to differ for us. It's very personal. Our business it's our life. Martial arts changes our life, and we choose to make it our calling and our purpose. They're one and the same. So if a great mentor or a great consultant is not cultivating your soul, cultivating that journey of self-discovery for you, you're missing the boat. How many unhappy rich people do we see in the world? Drug overdose, stick a gun in their mouth. So I'm recognizing that as you increase your intelligence as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a lead by example person, well, you better cultivate your soul right along with it, or you're in big trouble. So when I teach, as I'm doing now and sharing with you, I'm sure you can feel that on a spiritual and a heart level. And that's important. They go hand in hand. And we need to stop separating that, especially in our industry.
Let me say this, for the face-to-face interviews I've done, you guys can't see this obviously because you're listening. Brannon's maintained like eye contact the entire time. Like there's like a different connection like with the interview and everything, and I can sort of like feel the energy coming off of you, which is awesome.
And if you can do that with every prospect who walks through the door, how many more people are you going to convert magically?
Sure.
Because again, kumbaya, call me kumbaya. The eyes are the gateway to the soul. And if you want to connect with someone, look them in the eye.
That's awesome.
I learned that as a fighter. You know, some coaches would tell me, look here in the middle of their chest because the arms and legs are equal distance.
See the shoulders
no
moving.
freaking way. You look them in the eye because before anything happens, those eyes move. They'll go to the target. It'll happen. Look them in the eye.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to do this.
My honor and pleasure.
It was an honor having you on. Thank you. I hope you guys got as much out of that interview with Professor Beliso as I did. It really opened my eyes on a lot of things and helped me to start thinking outside of the box, which I love. One of the other things that sort of started to help me think outside of the box is this book that I keep going back to, and I know many of you have heard me talking about it before, but it's one of those books that you can keep turning back to, rereading, finding new insight in because there's so much information. That's Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. I love everything Tim Ferriss does, but I was reading it yesterday, and he was giving some insight from Mark Andreessen. So if you don't know who Mark Andreessen is, the guy's sold 2 multi-billion-dollar companies. He co-founded Netscape, which was later sold to AOL for $4.2 billion. Then he also co-founded another company called LoudCloud, which sold to Hewlett Packard for $1.6 billion. So the guy is crazy successful. And one of the things that I really love is one of the quotes that he sort of latches onto. It's called "Strong Views Loosely Held." So strong views loosely held. So what Mark talks about is that a lot of people go through life and never develop strong views on things, or they just sort of go along and buy into what everyone else is doing. So one of the things that he really stresses is to make sure that you're strong in your views, but then the loosely held part comes in where you have to be able to adapt and change. Most people hate changing. But when there's new information, or when there's a new way to market, or there's a new way to improve something, you have to be able to adapt in light of that new information. And I know with the martial arts industry, we're very rooted in tradition, which a lot of times can be excellent because a lot of the great techniques that we teach, the oyo that you teach at your school or bunkai, the self-defense that you teach, a lot of that is very effective and rooted in tradition. But our business practices do not need to be rooted in tradition. In fact, you don't want to fall in love with any one business practice. And I know right now, Facebook is killing it for tons of martial arts schools. And I think every martial arts school should be using Facebook advertising because of the amount that you get back for your investment. But do not fall in love with Facebook advertising, because it could be maybe next year something bigger and better comes out and Facebook advertising gets really expensive and stops working. And if you fall in love with Facebook advertising and you're still using it, even though the return isn't there, you're dooming your business. So I think it's super important, and this sort of opened my eyes to sort of reevaluate some of the things I'm doing and just be able to plan for the future better, is making sure that I'm loosely liking the processes that I'm using, which means if something better comes along, I'm not going to be adverse to changing it or updating it to make it better. And I think it's important that if you are someone that maybe is a little stubborn with some of the processes that you use, I just encourage you guys to open your mind more when things come about that are different than what you're used to or outside of the box. And as martial arts school owners and people in the martial arts industry, I really encourage you to start looking outside of the industry for things, because what I said earlier with martial arts being very rooted in tradition, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are still rooted in tradition with their business sense as well. And I see many consultants, and not all of them, because there's some really good ones out there, but many consultants are sort of teaching things that worked 10 years ago that really aren't up to date and they haven't adapted to current times. So it's just important that you guys keep that open mind and be willing to change when it's needed, when there's something better. And like I said, start looking outside the martial arts industry and see what people are doing that's making their companies successful. Start looking at some of the top companies or some of the top franchises and see what they're doing that makes them so special and sort of how you can adapt that to what you're doing at your location as well. Well, thank you guys for checking out the episode. I hope you got a lot of insight today. Our next guest that we have on the Level Up Lounge is going to be Jason Griffin, who is an amazing martial arts instructor, school owner, and just overall person. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. But he runs a few Tiger Rock locations. And if you guys have heard of the Tiger Rock martial arts franchise, they're probably one of the best branded franchises and most successful franchises in the country. So we're really excited to hear from him and get his insight next week on the Level Up Lounge. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Please give us a rating and click subscribe. And we hope to hear from you guys again next week.
LevelUpMyMusic.com. Level Up Music, the #1 music streaming service for martial arts schools. Get clean, family-friendly, motivating music mixes that your students and parents will love. It's so easy to use. All you need is a phone, tablet, or computer with an internet connection, and you're ready to start streaming. Upgrade the atmosphere in your school. Get started today.